You're listening to Your Highest Self podcast, episode 47. Today, we're going to talk about authenticity and how it is the way, how to cultivate it, and what are the ingredients of an authentic person. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to invest in your mind and doing it with me today. If you are new, welcome. My name is Shanae. I'm your host. I'm a retired WBFF bikini pro, former fitness and nutrition expert turned master life coach. My vision, my mission, my purpose for this show is to help you on your journey towards your highest self. So this is a personal development podcast, but we mix in fitness and nutrition mindset because part of being our highest selves is having a harmonious relationship with our mind, our body, and our heart. Today, we're talking about authenticity, like I had said, and authenticity is one of the key ingredients inside the confidence formula. So if you haven't listened to last week's episode, go back and listen to it because it is important to know that part before you listen to this one. So in that episode, I shared about what the process of unlearning is, why we unlearn, and then what is the confidence formula. We went really granular into self-esteem, and then we went even granular into that, and we talked about self-trust. So make sure you listen to that before you listen to today. So authenticity is one of the other ingredients. And today we're going to talk about the biggest thing holding you back from being authentic. What are the 5 ingredients of an authentic person, and how being authentic is integral in building your self-confidence. Before we get into the content of the episode, I just wanted to take a moment to say hi and check in with you guys and see how you're doing. I hope that you've had a great week. I hope that you are loving this spring weather. I definitely am. I've been doing lots of gardening. It's been a lot of fun. Other than that, I wanted to invite you into it. I was like, why am I forgetting what I was going to say? I wanted to invite you into Mindset Makeover membership. I pretty much have been talking about it every single week. I am going to be closing the doors to it soon and only opening it up for registration later on in the year. So if you are craving a community of like-minded women on the journey to their highest selves, and you want to take what you learn on this podcast a layer deeper, this membership is for you. We have a monthly coaching theme. This month, it's coming home to yourself. We're talking all about authenticity, our values, our beliefs, our standards, and the coaching theme is picked from you guys. So I literally listen to what you're posting about in the group and what people are struggling with and what you're working on, and I tailor everything to the group. So don't be worried, you're not behind. People can join anytime, but like I said, I will be closing the doors soon. So I wanted to take a moment to invite you into it. You'll find all the details down in the show notes. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with a quote from one of my favorite authors, Brené Brown, on authenticity. She says, "Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are." Ooh, so good, so good. If you don't know who she is an author and researcher. She researches about shame and vulnerability, and those are like my 2 biggest things I love talking about. So you know why I love her work. But I want to also give you a definition of authenticity. I always give you guys definitions because I think it's like the best way to learn. So the definition of authenticity is not false or copied, genuine, real. And another one that's actually my favorite is representing one's true nature or beliefs, true to oneself or to the person identified. So important. Authenticity is this huge buzzword. It's been for a while. It's like, oh, just be authentic, just be yourself. And we saw a rise in, people on social media being authentic, but it was fake authenticity because it was still putting on an image, putting on a front of how you think people want you to see you and how you want people to see you. Does that make sense? How you think you want people to see you and then how you want people to see you. So when it comes to being authentic, it's not about what other people think about you. It's about what you think about you. So, like Brené Brown was saying, letting go of who you think you're supposed to be and just embracing who you are. The biggest thing that is going to hold you back in your journey to your highest self, your journey to being authentic and to really cultivating your self confidence is trying to be authentic. The more that you try, the more you hold yourself back. It's like a flower doesn't try to be a flower, it just is a flower. And that's the same thing with authenticity and being yourself. You don't have to try to be yourself, you just allow yourself to be who you are. When you stop trying so hard, what are you left with? That is who you are. So, tying it back to last week, the unlearning part, letting go of who you think you should be. When I talk about what makes up an authentic person today, have that in the back of your mind and self evaluate yourself. What are the things that I think I should be? And where did I learn that? Is that a belief I want to hold on to? And is that in congruent with who I want to be? So, the 5 key ingredients of an authentic person are the first thing are you're able to be yourself. My husband actually is the one who says this to me all the time, and it really clicked for me. A couple months ago, we were having a conversation, and he was talking about someone at work, and he was like, you just have to be able to be yourself. And for how like you hear things over and over again, and then sometimes you hear it and it's the same thing, but you finally hear it. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. You have to be able to be yourself. It just kind of clicked for me. So what I really mean by that, and like kind of like what I would love for you to take away from this in terms of authenticity and building your confidence is embracing your too muchness, embracing your craziness, your weirdness, and surrounding yourself with those who you can express yourself to without feeling wrong or weird about it. um, Often times the work that needs to be done is you need to be able to accept yourself first before you can even think about being yourself to others. So say that you have this passion of you love anime, and like you just love it, you love the whole Japanese culture, you love anime, um, but you are not able to be authentic to maybe your friends or a new partner about your love for it. And that isn't because they haven't accepted you, it's because you haven't accepted you yet. Do you see where I'm going with this? So, what are the parts of you that you cut off? What are the parts of you that you have yet to accept yourself? And then because of that, you haven't shown it to other people. In the past, for me, it was a lot about like spirituality, it was a lot about my personal development. I love this stuff, and yet I hadn't accepted it in myself yet, and so I couldn't speak about it to other people. I couldn't express my mind and express what the things I had learned and the things that I love to talk about. Does that make sense? Okay, number 2, you do the inner work. So the inner work is about creating more self-awareness, and people who are authentic without trying hard to be authentic, they do the work. They know that the answers that they seek are all from within, and they don't try to look for it outside of themselves. They know that, for example, accepting themselves. They know that it's them that have to accept themselves. It's not someone else who is going to accept them for them. Does that make sense? The inner work is journaling, reading, resting, meditating, coaching. It's doing the work. It's looking at your thought models. It's looking at the beliefs that you've been living your life with and asking yourself, is this who I want to be? Or is this who I've been being, right? So go back to episodes from a couple weeks ago. It's like, am I acting out of this wounded, hurt place of who I used to be? Or am I acting out of this new place of who I want to be? So that is the inner work. If you want to be authentic, if you want to be more of yourself and be confident, you got to do the work. There's no way around it. The third ingredient of an authentic person is they embrace their shadow self. I talked about shadow work, I think in a long, long time ago, maybe in the inner child healing episode, but basically your shadow self is the parts of yourself, like the sides of your personality that contain the parts of yourself that you don't want to admit to having. So for example, it's the part of yourself that you try to hide, the parts of yourself that you have a lot of shame and judgment around. Um, the thing is, though, is that we cannot and should not be getting rid of our shadow. We're not actually meant to heal the shadow. The shadow has a purpose and it's meant to be there for our evolution, for our growth, and for our personal development. You trying to get rid of your shadow is you not accepting yourself, and that is not being authentic. So for example, say that you have a tendency to you have a temper, and or here's an easy one: you're stubborn. Say you're super stubborn, and you always try to like cut this part of you off. Or we can go back to the anger one. You have a little bit of an anger management thing, and you're just, maybe it's not even anger management, maybe that's just how you are, you're very spicy. And you haven't you haven't accepted all the spiciness to you, the stubbornness to you. And because of that, you constantly try to suppress it, or you don't let others see that side of you because you're ashamed of it, right? If you were to instead just embrace the spiciness of who you are, then you'll be able to see when that spicy is serving you and when it's not serving you, right? Because like our shadow self serves us in some situations and it doesn't serve us in other situations. So embracing your shadow is super important. It's about letting go of shame and letting go of judgment and really accepting yourself for who you are. We all have shadows. We all have them. I'm trying to think about like what my shadow is. There's, so many parts to a person. It's hard to just put words to who you are, but probably like one of my shadows that I've learned to really work with and accept with is my openness. Meaning I don't have a filter sometimes, and I will just tell anybody everything about me. And that's in my favor sometimes, and that's not in my favor sometimes, but I've accepted that you know what, that's kind of who I am, and take it or leave it. And I embrace that part of myself, and because of that, I'm able to be authentic. So if I'm a little bit too open with someone, because I know that about myself, I don't suppress it. I don't try to not be open, and then I can tell when I'm sort of overstepping my boundaries and I'm making someone feel uncomfortable with what I'm sharing. Does that make sense? So, embracing our shadow self, knowing our shadows, not trying to cut off our shadows, not trying to make ourselves wrong for our shadows, is an act of being your most authentic self. Number 4, you don't require other people's approval to like yourself. Huge, 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 huge. I actually just really kind of experienced this the other day. Um, when you are authentic, when you know who you are, when you're comfortable with who you don't need anyone to approve of you. And what I experienced the other day was not having to talk about myself, which is so interesting because I just shared with you what my shadow was being so open. But I something happened the other day, and I was at this place where I was like, you know what, like I'm comfortable with who I am, so I don't feel the need to sort of insert my story or insert my opinion or tell you more about me because I'm really comfortable with who I am and I want to learn about you. I was more interested in learning about another person versus like sharing about myself, which was really interesting. And when I kind of reflected on it later, I was like, oh, this is what it's like to be confident truly from the inside out. This is what it's like to be authentic and to love myself and to be comfortable with myself. I don't need anyone else to approve of me. I don't need to be validated by them, and I don't need I don't need them to like me. So part of this is being able to hold very healthy boundaries for yourself. I think that people pleasing is huge. And when we people please, we are not being authentic because we are allowing other people to take advantage of us. And we are the ones responsible for that. And it's not allowing us to be authentic, because if you're letting someone walk all over you, if you're letting people take advantage of you, you're not being true to yourself. And authenticity is a key ingredient of self-confidence, right? Like we talked about. So if this part of you, if you're constantly like letting people take advantage of you or not holding strong, healthy boundaries, then you are gonna not be confident. It's gonna take your energy and dwindle your energy from your confidence. And if you're saying to me, well, this is just how I always have been, opportunity to unlearn this. Like dig into it, go deep, really do the work to heal so that this isn't your story anymore. The last ingredient of an authentic person is they value personal growth and development. Personal development is this podcast basically, and what it is, it's the work of improving your self-awareness, building your identity, and discovering and developing your talents to reach your full potential. That is what personal development is. I'm obsessed with it. I'm a personal development junkie, meaning that I am constantly doing the work. I am constantly rebuilding my identity and constantly like discovering and developing my talents, because my biggest fear in life is not reaching my full potential. Whole nother conversation, but a lot of times personal development can come, it can be bad. It can be toxic. It can be like a not enoughness. So you're constantly trying to fix and improve yourself. But people who have authenticity have a healthy dose of valuing personal growth and development. You cannot be authentic if you don't value your personal growth, because you are going to be stuck. You're not going to really learn who you are. You don't know what your talents are. You don't know like some hidden skills you might have. And if that's the life you live, it's kind of like basically living in the dark. That's how I see it. And once you see the light and you see this like world of personal development, like, wow, I can improve. Wow, I can really change my mindset. I can change my life. Then you become more of yourself. And like I said, confidence comes through action. Confidence comes through doing the work, showing up, even when you don't know, and getting better over time. So when you value personal development and you get better over time and you see life as this journey, there's no timeline, there's no end destination that we're trying to get through, your authenticity shines and it becomes even brighter. So that is why, those are the ingredients. And I hope that you can see from the ingredients why being authentic is integral to your self-confidence. Just kind of like how I said last week, if you're constantly pushing, saying bad things about yourself, if you've got negative self-talk, if you are not able to be authentic to yourself and to those closest to you, then you are living a fake life. And how can you have self-confidence when you don't even have the confidence to be yourself? Okay, so let's have the confidence to be ourselves. Let's tap into our authenticity and let's not try so hard to be ourselves. Just let yourself be who you are. A flower does not try to be a flower just blooms. And that is, funny enough, that is just being present. That sounds like the simplest thing, and it really is, and it's the hardest thing at the same time, but be present. Be where you're at. Don't tell yourself that you should be somewhere else, or you should have been like how you were 5 years ago, or should be like how your mom is. Stop saying those words to yourself. Be present, be where you're at, accept reality, and have gratitude for this moment. Because when you can find peace and gratitude for this moment, then we can do the work of improving ourselves. But your personal development has to come from a place of self-love and acceptance and compassion, or else it just becomes negative self-work. And that's going to drive you down that deeper hole of the negative habit loop, of the negative thought loop of self-blame and failure and low self-esteem. So that's why being authentic is so important in building your self-confidence. You literally cannot be confident if you can't be yourself. I hope this episode was helpful for you. A little bit shorter, more of a quickie than last week's. Still 20 minutes, still a good amount of time. If you want to build your confidence, if you want to work on your authenticity and really finding who you are and trusting yourself and keeping your promises, it's putting in the reps. You want to put in the reps. Come and join Mindset Makeover membership. This is what we do in there. Would love to be your life coach. That's basically what I am in that program. We meet once a month, like I said, for a virtual retreat. We've got a Slack group where I'm in almost every single day, coaching you, being your biggest supporter, and also having the support of other like-minded women, like who have this same internal drive of being the best version of themselves. So if that sounds like you, we would love to have you. Again, just go down to the show notes and you can sign up there. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me or send me an email. That's all for today. I hope that you found a good wisdom nugget or two in this. I hope that you work on your authenticity and work on these ingredients and really commit to yourself to invest in yourself and putting in the work so that you can be your highest self. What else was I going to say? That's it. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I'll see you guys here next time. Same place, same time, same place. Oh, and don't forget to share this episode with a friend and leave a rating and review if you loved it so more people can find the show. So that's all for now. I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Don't forget to be your highest self. Bye for now.